I'm Delphine. I'll take you through Home Science, and we are going to look at topic 5 in Form 4, and that is soft furnishings in the home. And under soft furnishings in the home, there are various concepts that we're going to look at. The very first one is color. Then we are going to look at furnishing the home. Then third, we look at accessories. Then finally, we have flower arrangement. So from what we have there, we'll start with color. And we need to look at color because color is a very important aspect when we talk about furnishing the home, or when we are talking about the soft furnishings that are at home. So with color, I'll give you a task. If you try to switch off the lights in your home, or if you try to be in a dark place, you'll not be able to see any color. So color has, light has to be present for color to be visible. You must have light. And for that reason, that is why we say color is an element of design, an element of design that can only be seen in the presence of light. So there has to be light for you to be able to see color. And that is why if you have different surfaces and there is light, you'll tend to see various kinds of color. So it is what is reflected and then absorbed enables you to be able to see color. Now, after we've known what color is and what is needed for us to be able to see color, then there are terms that I'll be using in most of our learning area, and these terms are related to color, so you have to know what they mean for you to understand. The first term that is very relevant when we talk about color is what we call hue. Hue simply means color. So when I say hue, I'm talking of color. So for example, we can have red. Red is a hue, or it's a color. Then another term that you should be aware of is intensity. Intensity, in terms of color, this means the quality of brightness or dullness of a color. Brightness or dullness of a color. I'll give an example of one color. We have blue. If you look at blue, blue exists in various intensities. We can have light blue, we can have sky blue, we can have navy blue, and we can also have royal blue. And if you look at these intensities, there is one that is bright, is dull. So when we say intensity, we simply mean brightness or dullness of a color. I hope we are together at that point. Then the final term that is going to be also something that you need to do, value or tone. So we can say value or tone because they mean the one and the same thing. So value or tone is simply the lightness or darkness of a color. The lightness or darkness of a color. So we can have light values and dark values. Now the light values are normally obtained when you pick a color and then you add white to it. You get the light values of that particular color. Now these light values, they have a name. So we have light values and dark values. Talk of values, you can also say tones. So light values are normally obtained when you get a color and then you add white to it, you get the light values. The light values are known as the tints. Then the dark values are obtained when you get a color and then you add black. Those dark values of a color, we call them shades. So I'll give an example of one color, and it's tint and shade. So let's pick a color like red. We have our color, which is red. So we get red, we have red, you add white to it, you get a tint of red, which we call pink. So pink is the tint of red. Still the same color, red, we add black to it, we get a shade known as maroon. So maroon is the dark value, or it's a shade of red. And that is why most of you, if someone shows you something that is maroon in color, some of you will say it is red. Why? Because a maroon is a shade of red. I hope you're together up to that point. So those are three terms that we might be using a lot when we talk about color. We have very many colors. We have very many colors, and for that reason, colors are classified into three main categories. They are classified into three main categories or classes. So the first category is known as primary colors, and I know we've learned this at some point. Primary colors. The second category, we have secondary colors. The third category, tertiary colors. So let's start with the first category. What do we mean by primary colors? Primary colors are colors. They are basic colors. They are basic colors. And why do we call them basic colors? Because they cannot be obtained by mixing any other color. So they are basic colors that are not obtained by mixing colors. and there are three of them. So we have three primary colors. That even if you try mixing whichever color you want to, you cannot get them. So the first one is red, then we have blue, then we have yellow. So those are our primary colors: red, blue, and yellow. They are basic colors that are not obtained by mixing other colors. Secondary colors. These are colors that are obtained by mixing equal parts of two primary colors. So you get your two primary colors in the same proportions, mix them up, and then you'll get a secondary color. An example, we can have red plus blue. You obtain violet. Blue plus yellow. We obtain green. Red plus yellow. You obtain orange. So our secondary colors here are violet, green, and orange. Those three. So two equal parts of primary colors give you a secondary color. And finally, we have the last category, which is the tertiary colors. Tertiary colors. So these are colors that are obtained mixing a primary color and a secondary color. So you get your primary color, you mix it with a secondary color, you get a tertiary color. For example, you can get a primary color like blue. You mix it with violet, you get a tertiary color known as blue violet. So you can try and do for the other colors, but I hope you have understood what tertiary colors are and how to obtain them. Now, after we've known the categories of color, there's another aspect that we need to learn about colors. So you've known to categorize these colors. Now, why is it important for you to know how to categorize them? Because finally, they're going to construct something known as a color wheel. They're going to construct something known as a color wheel. Now, what is a color wheel? A color wheel is basically a circle that contains all the colors, showing their relationship. So you have a circle, and then it has the 3 primary colors, the 3 secondary colors, and 6 tertiary colors. And this circle will not just show their arrangement, but also their relationship. So how do we get a color wheel? So you'll get your circle. I know it's not as perfect as it should be. So I've said a color wheel is a circle that tends between the colors that we've talked about. So we'll start with the primary colors. We'll have our red over here, our yellow, and then we are going to have the last one, which is blue. So I'm going to put indicate we're using symbols. P is going to represent our primary, and then our S, of course, is for secondary, and then T, of course, we use the tertiary. So we have red, yellow, and blue. Then our 3 secondary colors. So we are going to leave space in between because, of course, this primary color and the secondary color are going to form a tertiary color. So we leave a space here for our tertiary color and another space. This end we're going to have orange, because remember we say we have our orange there. Then we're going to have our green. Yes, our green here. Then we are going to have our violet. So secondary, and secondary. Then now we are left to fill up the tertiary colors. So yellow plus green, or green plus yellow, will give us green yellow. So we have green yellow here. Our orange plus yellow will give us orange yellow. So allow me to go outside the circle itself. Then we have red plus orange. We're going to have orange red, or red orange. Still okay. Here we're going to have red violet, or violet red. Is there a question?
Joy, do you have a question? Joy, is that a question? No. Okay, she's fine.
Here we are going to have blue plus violet. We're going to have blue violet. Then we're going to... You've learned. She's saying they have already learned this.
Right. It's okay, Joy. If you've learned that, then that's good revision.
So I can just go through it very fast then. We go it through very fast.
Yeah, because we also have students from other schools.
By the way, maybe because ours we've also learned, but I thought of others. Okay, so you have your color wheel. You have your color wheel. And now, the importance of this color wheel is not just to show you the relationship. It is also a guide of combining colors so that you select a color scheme. It is a guide in combining of colors so as to select or come up with a color scheme. So what is a color scheme? and I would have loved to have this on. So I'm going to squeeze it somewhere here. So we have color scheme. So a color scheme is the overall effect of color. The overall effect. The overall effect of colors used in the surfaces in a room. The overall effect of colors used in the surfaces in a room or a color scheme. So for you to be able to come up with a color scheme, then you must be knowing how to come up with a color that is harmonious. A color scheme that is going to make sure that all the surfaces in your room are in. So what are these surfaces that we are talking about in a room? You can have the walls, you have the floor. Apart from that, we can have furniture. So all those should have colors that are going to be harmonious. So that is where you come up with a color scheme. And for you to come up with a color, use your. So there are four main types of colors. Four main types of color schemes. There are four main types of color schemes. So the first type, we call it monochromatic. The second one, analogous. The third one, complementary color scheme. And the last one, the triad. So monochromatic color scheme is also known as the one color plan. It is also known as the one color plan. So that basically means that it is a color scheme that relies on one color. So you pick a color and then you can use the tints and shades of that color to create the desired effect that you want in your house. So if you're going with red, maybe you could choose you could also mix up with pinks and maroons. Yeah, so it is a one color plan, meaning it uses just one color, and then that color can be used together with its shades and tints. The analogous color scheme. The analogous color scheme is also known as related color plan. So we call it analogous or related color plan. So in the analogous color scheme, this is whereby you choose to use colors that lie next to each other on the color wheel. So they could be 2 or 3, depending on what you want to use. So you tend to use colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. So for example, if you want to use red, you can choose to use red violet, and orange red. So those 3 that are next to each other. If you wanted to use blue, maybe you can go with blue, violet, and violet. Or you can just decide to go with blue and blue, violet. So you use two or three colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. So you can play with that. Then we have the complementary color scheme. With the complementary color scheme, it is divided. It is divided into three. So we have one single complementary color scheme. We have split complementary color scheme. And then finally we have double. So what is the difference among those? So single complementary color scheme. This is a color scheme whereby you use two colors that are directly opposite to each other on the color wheel. For example, we have red and green. You can use that. You can use red, violet, and green, yellow. So you use these two. And you can use their intensity. Is the brightness or dullness. So you can mix up the intensities. And when you mix them up, they tend to complement each other very well. So a single complementary color scheme is whereby one uses two colors that are directly opposite to each other on the color wheel. Split complementary color scheme. This is whereby one color is used together with two other colors that are on the opposite side of it on the color wheel. When you tend a narrow Y angle. So let me use a different pen. So for example, you get red. Of course, the complements are on the other side, but now you use two other colors that tend to lie on it when you place a narrow Y structure. So you have your red here. This is the center. So your Y and this way. So you're going to have red, green, yellow, and blue, green. So you use three colors. If you want to use violet, you'll have to go to its complements, but now you place a narrow Y. So we start from violet, and then we draw our narrow Y angle to look like that. So you have violet, you have orange, yellow, and then you're going to have finally green, yellow. So you get three colors. So that is for split complementary. The double complementary color scheme, this is a color scheme whereby two colors that are next to each other on the color wheel are used together with the complements that are on the other side of the color wheel. So if you want to use red, you're going to use red, violet, and red, and then the other two colors that are on this other side is green, yellow, and green. Yeah? So you'll have that. Four colors. That's why it's called double, because it is two colors and then they're used together with their complements. They're used together with their complements on the other side. Then finally we have the triad harmony. And by the way, color schemes are also known as harmonies. So when I say harmony, I'm referring to a color scheme. So the triad harmony is also known as the equidistance harmony or color scheme. So we say triad ama equidistant. Now, what is the triad harmony? A triad harmony is whereby colors that are at equal distance are used to create a color scheme. Colors that are at equal distance, or sometimes we say if you place an equilateral triangle on your color wheel, you get 3 colors. So a good example is when we talk about the primary colors, that is red, yellow, and blue. They tend to give you 3 colors that are at equal distance from each other. So you can use these 3, and remember, it's not a must for you to use the red the way it is. You can use different values and intensities of red, yellow, and blue. So you get those 3. Now, after we've learned a color scheme, the next thing that you need to know is the effect of color in a room. The effect of color in a room. So we look at different colors and how, what change or effect do they bring about when you use them in a room. And remember, if you're using it in a room, it could be, yeah? So the effect of color. The effect of colors or color in a room. So I'll start with what we call the warm colors. Effects do warm colors bring about when they are used in a room? Now, before we, what are warm colors? Warm colors are colors that are associated. They are colors that are associated with heat, and sunshine. So can you, I know you know them. So we can have something like red here. We can have something like red here. So if you use those colors in a room, number one, they tend to make the room have an advancing effect. An advancing effect. Advancing effect meaning they make a room appear larger. Are we together? No, sorry. They make the room appear smaller in size. Why? Because they are cheerful, yeah? So they give color to that particular room, and therefore they tend to make a larger room appear smaller. So we say they have an advancing effect. Then we have cool colors. So cool colors are colors that are associated. They are colors that tend to be associated with vegetation, the sky, and water. So vegetation, the sky, and water. So here we can have examples of green. Of course, you know green represents our vegetation. Then we have blue for our water and the sky. So these colors tend to have a very peaceful effect when you use them in the house. And then they tend to have what we call a receding effect. That is full colors. Receding effect. So receding effect meaning they tend to make the room appear larger. Because I've just said, when you use cool colors, they make the room to be very and restful. So at the end of the day, if you use them in a small room, they tend to make that room appear larger. So that is what we call a receding effect. Then now we have the other colors that we can talk about them at their own. So we can have something like yellow. You know very well, yellow is the most brightest of all the colors. And when you use them in a particular place, they tend to brighten up the place. But you're not supposed to use too much yellow because it tends to bring about eye strain. Then we have red. We've talked about red. Red is a warm color, is one of the warm colors. It is very demanding, meaning you need to, it gives you that urge to look at it. And we know red signifies a lot of things. There's danger, there's love. When you use them in a room together with other colors, it brings warmth to the particular room. We have violet or purple. That is a royal color. It is associated with royalty, meaning it tends to command a higher place in the room. So when you're using purple, because of that royalty, you're supposed to use in small areas or surfaces in the house so that it doesn't overpower the other colors in that particular house. You can look at the other colors, which effect do they bring about. I will not leave without talking about the neutral colors. And you know we have 3 neutral colors, that is black, we have white, and we have green. We call them neutral because they tend to combine with almost everything. But if you use them alone at times, they are a bit frustrating, so you have to warm them up a little bit. So I don't know whether you'd want us to continue with soft furnishings, or there's a topic you want us to tackle, because there's some who have done soft furnishings, there are some who have not yet done. So maybe we can go or brush through the rest of it in our next session very fast, and then you can bring up a topic that you want us to do in our next session. Is there a question?
All right, Joy, Daisy, Victor, those students who are online, I know that most of you have covered the content that the teacher is teaching. Do you have a topic that you would like the teacher to look at so that she doesn't pick topics for you? Is there a specific topic that you would like the teacher to look at? And what is that topic? Speak up. Daisy, is that you? Students, do you have a specific topic that you'd like the teacher to look at next time? Joy. So I think those students who are watching us on Facebook, if there's a topic that you'd like the teacher to look at, then you're going to comment down there, or you can send a message or a comment in our WhatsApp group.
Thank you for listening to me, and I'll be waiting for your comment.